Before the video starts, please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to receive the latest updates on future videos. Episode 1. This is the tale of Kelvin, a young man who unfortunately dies due to God's mistake. Consequently, he is reincarnated with any skill he chooses, but the price for this is his memories. And so, he wakes up to find himself in another world as a summoning mage along with Melfina, a goddess in the form of a menu. Now stranded here, he heads to Parth and joins the Adventurer Guild. There, he keeps quiet about his summoning skills as Melfina claims it is a highly rare and prized skill. With this, he then heads on his first mission, slime slaying. But in a twist of events, he ends up taming it and names it Clotho. However, the naming ceremony makes Clotho a whole lot stronger as Melfina reveals this is because of Kelvin's S-rank summoned class. Later that day, he heads back to find a room, seeing how this world is filled with slaves. Episode 2. Soon after, Kelvin is promoted to E-class in his guild. There, an adventurer named Cashel tries to humiliate Kelvin, sending him to hunt a monster called Black Ghost Knight. But to make things more interesting, Kelvin decides to set up a match, him versus Cashel's entire party. And so, the duel begins, but the opponents seem to have ill intentions. With the help of Clotho, who is now transformed into a slime Glutina, a demon lord class monster, he subdues his foes. Later on, he even locates his target, who is known as Jared. He explains that he was once a knight but is now stuck as a monster due to the pain he feels unjustly losing his beloved wife and kids. Hearing this, Kelvin sympathizes and decides not to kill him. However, he does submit a piece of Jared's armor as proof of the quest's completion, earning him the B rank. Not only that, Jared also joins Kelvin's group. Episode 3. Eventually, he also meets with Guild Master Leo, revealing he knows about Kelvin's summoner class. There, he claims that his appraisal skill is stronger than Kelvin's magic to hide his status and thanks him for subduing Cashel, who was a foreign noble. Not only that, he states that many, like Kelvin, have been summoned previously to fight off the demon lord, and as such, he too should focus on killing monsters. Kelvin agrees and also buys a female elf slave named Ethel to add to his team, wanting to train her. But this elf has a curse on her which doesn't allow her to touch anyone. Nonetheless, this is nothing for Kelvin, who dispels the curse easily. That night, he is also forced to share his bed with his new adorable slave. Episode 4. Slowly, Elfie soon turns into an archer and befriends the guild secretary Angie. One day, Tabura, the third prince of Trison, visits Parth and notices Angie and Elfie. Seeing them, he tries to have his way with them, but Kelvin intervenes, beating up his guards. There, Tabura reveals he is here to hire a rising name to better his reputation, but this rising name is Kelvin himself, who immediately refuses. Later that night, Elfie proclaims her love for her master, but Kelvin refuses her advances, thinking it would be like taking advantage of her when Elfie is still just a slave. In addition, Kelvin also learns from Melfina that the other heroes are very weak. As such, Kelvin is sent to deal with a certain demon. There, he happens upon two demons fighting, Victor and Sarah. Victor wants to become the next demon lord by eating both Kelvin and Sarah, making Kelvin excited, thanks to his battle junkie tendencies. Episode 5. As the fight begins, Victor is quickly forced to transform into his demonic form. But he is still no match for Kelvin and his team. With his last breath, he claims that he never wanted to hurt Sarah and was rather appointed as her guardian by her father, Gustav. He reveals that Gustav placed a seal on Sarah, which can only be opened by a human, and Victor was assigned as the protector. As such, he wants Kelvin to unseal Sarah and he does so. With this, Victor dies peacefully and Jared ranks up. Sarah also joins Kelvin's group and later on, Leo prompts him to rank A. Consequently, Angie holds a party to celebrate, where Sarah is seen mourning the death of her companion. Episode 6. All of a sudden, Kelvin feels the urge to eat some rice, resulting in the entire team heading to Toridge to find some. There, we see that Melfina is somewhat jealous of the girls in Kelvin's team. On the journey, they are attacked by a notorious bandit group, but Sarah alone is able to defeat them all, after which Kelvin then interrogates them. As such, he then relays what he learned to Mist, the Toridge guild master, claiming that this group is led by a famous adventurer called Christoph who is involved in illegal slavery. However, Christoph is a well-reputed man and as such, the guild cannot blindly accuse him. But with a stroke of luck, the heroes are in town and Kelvin advises Mist to order the heroes to investigate this incident. Meanwhile, he himself frees the captured slaves and also easily defies Kristoff and his troops. The heroes soon arrive as well, but misunderstand the situation. Episode 7. Thinking Kelvin is the bandit group's leader, they all attack him. This is the first time Kelvin meets the other heroes and challenges them to a fight. And so, they all begin to clash ferociously. However, none of them is able to hold out on their own against Kelvin, who then criticizes the heroes' weakness and tell them how to get stronger. Taking his advice, the heroes are able to trap him in some spells but Kelvin easily breaks free. With this, all 4 heroes have now fallen, but then, Kelvin explains what really going on. Finally, the heroes understand the situation but Kelvin has a punishment for them, ordering them all to strip. Episode 8. Obviously, he has some reasons for his madness, telling the heroes to change into swimwear and taking them to a sea cave to train. However, there he learns how truly pathetic the defenders of this world really are. They even lose to a mere octopus, making Kelvin deem them cannon fodder. But much to his surprise, they are ready to take on the dungeon boss, but the thought is enough for Kelvin, who deals with the boss himself. Later on, he is summoned by Toridge's queen, Tsubaki, who thanks him for defeating the bandits. As a reward, he is given a lifetime supply of rice. Tsubaki also tries hiring Kelvin, but he refuses. Back in Parth, he is seen buying a new house and 2 slaves he freed from the bandits. Suddenly, Melfina arrives there in a physical body, allowing Kelvin to summon her into this world. Episode 9. Because of his recent actions, Melfina blesses him with the grace of resurrection, allowing him to save himself from a fatal attack once a month and also gives him a one-time chance to summon a hero from Japan. However, this is too much for Kelvin, who indulges Melfina in this troubles. But she claims that only summoned heroes are able to defeat the demon lords, but Kelvin is still uneasy. But this all has a simple solution: Kelvin can just summon an already dead hero. As such, he casts his magic spell, summoning a girl named Rio, the strongest hero in Japan. She, who was severely sick in her past life, is ecstatic at this second chance and joins Kelvin's party. Episode 10. One day, Kelvin decides to level up his new housemaids as well, just in case, and tames a wolf for Rio. Rio is also seen training religiously. One night, Kristoff's former groupies attack Kelvin in the dead of night but meet their end at Rio's hands. Meanwhile, the king of Tryson is disappointed in Kristoff, deeming him a failure. In addition, the other empire, Toridge, Gon and Doremus, are allying against Tryson, and the leaders of the country decides if they will go to war. The votes end up in a tiebreaker, resulting in General Clive getting the last say. But he is absent, as always. Episode 11. As some time passes, Leo sends Kelvin on an S-rank promotion exam, to slay an S-rank monster and save an elven village. As such, the team head over, but the village's chief mistakes Elfie for her daughter. But this sparks Kelvin's curiosity and he learns that the chief's daughter, Lumil, was sacrificed to save the village 20 years ago. Hearing this, Kelvin suspects that Lumil was Elfie's mother. But first, the matter at hand. The chief claims that Tryson soldiers have been invading them and Kelvin casts a barrier to stop this. Not only that, Elfie kills off most of the monsters under the opponent's control, but the commander manages to escape. Nonetheless, they encounter their target finally and defeat it. Suddenly, General Clive appears from nowhere, almost killing Elfie, but Kelvin rescues her. Understanding Clive is stronger, he begins to get excited. Episode 12. Nevertheless, Clive first tries to manipulate Elfie, trying to turn her into his slave, but Kelvin stops him. There, Clive boasts that hypnosis gives him complete control over anyone, but he is seen to be all talk. Kelvin is able to quickly overpower his enemy and Clive only survives thanks to his peer General Tristan. While the elves rejoice, Kelvin is upset that the fight ended in a stalemate. Meanwhile, to discover if reincarnations have any scientific value, Tristan imprisons Clive and begins torturing him. On the other hand, Kelvin resolves himself to get even stronger. However, in the shadows, an elf girl is to be the requester of this quest, Leonhart Gon, who deems Kelvin deserving of being an S rank. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And remember, if you want to see more awesome content like this, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Stay tuned for our next adventure, and until then, take care and keep exploring.